think it already works, but we can maybe go in there and spline it a little bit. So I will mute the master again. The arm is working quite okay. The legs are not so cool. Let's have a look at what they do. So we'll grab the foot. Remember, we only need to clean the loop itself. So the foot goes down. So for instance, after contacting the floor on the second frame, I think I could roll nearly flat. Actually, I can roll entirely flat and maybe just keep up the toe. There you go. And this will give me a bit more time on the floor. And I will try to have frame 4 roll down as well, just to give the impression that I spend more time on the floor. And then I have a little bit of a problem because between 4 and 5 there is plenty of roll going on. You see the heel lifts up quite a lot. And then there is almost nothing going on. So maybe I can cheat a little bit and lift up frame 6. See, I don't have a key in there because I have selected the foot roll and I was syncing timeline and graph editor. If you go and check the translations, you will see the key. So this is the risk of having sync, graph editor and timeline on. It's very easy when you forget to think you have put a key and not have it visible on screen and you're thinking, why not? I just made a key in there. So I go in there, lift the foot a little bit better. And then you see that we don't lift nearly as quickly as we should. So maybe we can lift a little bit quicker there. And then if you track the arc of the heel in there, I'm going to show you the arc. You will find there's a very hard corner somewhere. Up here, you see, it feels almost like the heel is hitting an invisible ceiling and then moves forward, bounces forward. So maybe in here I can have a look at the curves. I don't want to really set a key every frame, although for the feet, it's not common for the lift off to set a bunch of keys. So the feet right now are still in linear. I want them to become auto tangents the moment they lift off the floor. They just need to be linear for as long as they are on the floor. So when I get down to the contact there, I will go back to linear. But until then, I want the curves to be nice auto tangents. There you go. That's going to be already working a little bit better. Now let's have a look at that infamous wall. Let's see what the Z is doing. You see the Z is moving forward, so maybe I could just delete the movement forward, and that is already improving. You see the arc, and then maybe at 11 I can lift up a little bit and then delay the tip. I mean, I could even cheat, why not, and just use the toe wiggle there to increase the delay, and that will give me, you see, a much nicer arc. There is a little bit of indecision there because it feels like between 9 and 10 the tip is rotating forward and then rotates back again. So I wonder what is going on in there. It might be again a gift of the gimbal lock. So let's select rotation values and just run an Euler filter again. You see, it was indeed a gift of the gimbal lock. So now you see we have a much nicer arc down there, and there is a very strong variation of motion between 15 and 16. You see that we go there very quickly and then bam, we change direction very quickly as well. So maybe we want to do something about that as well. I take it, that's translate Z again. Let's see, it is. So maybe I could reduce the amount of translation that we have forward in there. There you go. And that starts to look okay, I guess. Maybe I could lift up even quicker and indulge a little bit longer up in the air. Remember, we are syncing the timeline there. There you go. If you want to check the motion a bit better, just like in my other tutorials, you can create the proverbial, almost proverbial, I would say, red sphere. And then you snap it to your foot using the modify match transformations translation and rotation, not that it matters really. And then the control of the foot becomes the master. The sphere, which we'll have to select, becomes the slave, and we do a pairing constraint. And this means that now we can go visualize and ghost the sphere. You see that now you can see the motion a little bit better. In fact, probably ghosting doesn't work too well for me right now, so I will check. And that makes it a lot easier to assess any inconsistency in the arc. That's good. I think this works. So now the foot goes down, lifts up, and then changes the motion and then goes down again. Maybe on frame 16 I can delay the way down a little bit so that the strongest motion on the way down will be between 16 and the beginning of the motion. Not bad. Now once you're done with this, you can hide or delete the sphere. And you would want to do the same thing on the opposite side, right? But now you have way more poses to mirror, not to mention that you would have to tweak the curves. So maybe one thing that we can do is, first of all, tweak the curves for that foot in there. And you see that translate X, for instance, is a bit linear the moment we are again in the air. So I want to make sure that it goes back to round there. And maybe I want this to be flat there so that it's a bit nicer with the connection with the next part of the loop. Similarly, the rotation, you want to connect nice and smooth with the loop. So you want to make sure that you don't connect with the loop in a way which is a bit too harsh. There you go, something like this will work.